Hello, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to apply the code that we used on the home page to the rationale page to try and make it more readable. So you can see here that I have some dummy text in for the rationale of the brief. The text goes from left to right of the screen. It's quite difficult to navigate and read that large amount of text the whole way across the screen. To make it easier, you might want to use what we did on the home screen with the shaded area, or without a shaded area, but to bring in from the top or the bottom or the left or the right using the code that we already have. To do this, I'm first going to look at what we did on the home page. The first thing we did was we set up a div tag that opened and closed around the text that we're talking about. Then we then set up a class, in this case was equal to home. In our style, we set some styling for that, which is all here in the CSS file. So I'm going to now look at the rationale page. I'm going to begin by putting a div around all of the text. I'm going to close my div at the end of the text. I'm then going to give my area a class identification. And I'm going to call this one rationale because that's the page that I'm on. I'm now going to go to my style.css. I'm going to call that area by using .rationale. And I'm going to copy what I used on the home page. Just copy, Control-C, Control-V. Now I'm going to manipulate this code rather than having to start from the beginning. So I can see that the shaded region is only at the top of the page. I can change that by adjusting this here so that it goes the whole way down to the bottom by putting in 0px here. Now the shaded region goes the whole way to the bottom of my page. If I want to give it some margins to the left and right, I can add some here. And you can manipulate that to whatever size you want. Now looking at my text, I don't want it center aligned anymore. I'm going to change it to left aligned. We'll refresh it. It's starting to look a little bit better now. I've also decided I don't want the grey shading. I'm going to change it to white. Now it looks like something that an examiner could read very easily. You could even draw this in a little bit more on the right hand side if you wanted. And maybe even on the left. By editing it to whatever suits your own requirements, you can very easily use some code to manipulate it into shape. Now it's up to you to change the styles of the font and to have it all matching. That is much easier to read than the text going the whole way from the left margin to the right margin. Just by adding in a little bit of code, you can see it's much easier to read. You could even decide that this H1 here, you could decide to center that if you wanted. Again, all of that is entirely up to you. The same with this H1 here. You could leave them left aligned. Once it is easy to navigate and read, that is the brief. So there's a simple tutorial on how you can use code that you already have to make your website easier to read for an examiner. Thank you.